Hello, party people. I hope you're having a very good Christmas and that your days are merry and bright and you're dealing with all the stress for this situation. But for those of you whose days are not merry or bright, or who want your future to be more merry and bright, I want to go over how to say no to someone, right? And why you feel bad saying no, why you don't say no. And as you prepare for the holiday season, there may be toxic parents, toxic family members, toxic siblings, or toxic partner, or toxic coworker who's maybe wanting to get into your boundaries, wanting to get into your space, wanting to have you do what's best for them rather than what's best for you. Then I want to talk about how to say no and why we don't say no, because it's a short word, right? Like, we could all say no, like, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I want to do this instead. So why don't you say no? Okay. So they're basically, I don't want to make it as simple as there are two types of people in the world, givers and takers. But some other people have basically made it as simple. But there's this, if you're a good, kind, loving, giving, forgiving person, there's this sense of like, oh, if I do the right thing, if I'm giving, if I'm loving, if I'm patient, if I'm kind, if I'm sacrifice myself, if I'm not selfish, if I give, then they will love me back, or they will respect me back, or they will eventually realize that's what I'm doing, and eventually it will be my turn. Everyone in the world does not think that way. And I want to be very, very clear about how everyone in the world does not think that way. One of the quotes I say over and over in The Sociopath Next Door, she's had a quote from a sociopath, the author, and she said, "I love do-gooders because they do me so much good." That's another reason you see so many church scandals. I'm watching the series Dirty John with my husband on Netflix, and it talked about, this sociopath Dirty John was at church and crying a crocodile tear, and then there's a scene, with the mother and daughter, and she said, well, but people can change. They can be saved. They can be changed. Can't they be saved? Yes, that's true. But it typically always involves some self-awareness and reflection on their behavior, and then work on their part. Self-awareness, reflection on their behavior, and then work on their part. So what can happen is toxic people play the victim, right? Oh my gosh, well, I think I saw a post in this group recently. It's like, oh, but I'm so lonely without you. What am I supposed to do? You ruined my holidays. Now I'm so sad. And they suck you back in, because it is easy to suck people in with sympathy. It is easy to suck people in with sympathy. It is easy to suck people in with sympathy. And sympathy is not empowering somebody else, right? Sympathy is not giving you the power for your own life. And that's really what toxic relationship is. It's needing someone else to fix your emotional state, do the work for you, be responsible so you don't have to be, whatever that is. And so you saying no is actually doing the right thing. It doesn't feel like the right thing. Sometimes it's really scary to say no, because you're like, oh no, what if they don't like me anymore? What if they don't choose me? What if they choose someone else? What if they do something else? Okay. And I want you to flip that back on yourself and say, okay, so me and you're sitting there and you're getting to make the decision. And if I come to you and I say, or you come to me and you say you want this, and I say, well, if you say no to me, then I'm going to cast you out. I'm going to turn you away forever. If you don't do what I want, you do not get my love, my care. I will ruin your life. I'll give you the silent treatment. I'll pitch a fit. Okay, when you hear it said that way, you're like, oh my gosh, that's awful. But if you take away the power of someone's no, that's really what you're doing. And it's like a little toddler, right? So the people who cannot accept your no are not your people. The people who cannot accept your no, it's a very dangerous place on their part. And especially if they are using your sympathy, and turning your feelings on you to make you feel bad, to make you feel like you're the one who's done something wrong, to make you feel like if you're a good person, you would help me, to make you feel like you have to do this for me. All those are really dangerous places that I don't want you living in, because that's where toxic people get their power. They can get their power by playing the hero, or they can get their power by playing the victim. And so if someone is playing the victim and saying, oh my gosh, you have to do this, if you don't help me, then you're not a good person. If you don't help me, then how will I make it? If you don't help me, that can be very prominent during the holiday season. That can be very prominent with toxic people, because they love to use our goodness and kindness against us, which is incredibly harmful and scary and dangerous. So it is okay to say no. If you say no and someone has a reaction to it, think about how inappropriate that reaction is. So you're not the bad person for saying no. It's very inappropriate and unkind to take away someone's no, which is what they are actually doing to you. And you can trigger it, and you probably know what's happening because you feel bad. Oh my gosh, if I say no, then they, if I say no, then they, if I say no, then they, and that's you being stuck with all the responsibility of the relationship rather than them learning to take responsibility for their own behavior. And there's a term called enabling, which I'm sure you guys know. And it's like, if someone is 800 pounds overweight, these like 2-ton people or whatever, half a ton woman, or somebody's bringing them that food, right? If someone is in the bed and they're morbidly obese and they can't get out of bed, someone is bringing them the food. And if that person who's in the bed, stuck morbidly obese, says, I want you to bring me whiskey, I want you to bring me fried chicken, I want you to bring me macaroni and cheese, I want you to bring me a biscuit with butter, I want a plate of pancakes, and the person who's trying to take care of them says, let me bring you something healthy, I love you, let me bring you something healthy, I want to take care of you, let me bring you something healthy. The person who's not doing well, the person who would have the food addiction, needs, that's something healthy. But they're probably not going to react that well to it. They're probably going to be really mad at the person bringing them the food and say, no, that's not what I want you to do. So that's how I want you to see the scenarios when someone says, hey, can you do this for me? And you feel like, I don't want to say no. I feel bad saying no. I'm a bad person for saying no. It's just like that person who's bringing their loved one food. It's such a part of our culture to love someone through food and to bring them some food that they wanted. So I hope that helps, and hope you have a great day.